Good evening, everyone. It's me, Teresa Perrin from Twitter. Just letting you know that I apologize if you saw the earlier video of this, but I was informed, unfortunately, it had no sound. How frustrating that the hour I spent making it didn't even come out right. So let's start over. We're going to talk about LYT, which, as many of you know, had a massive dumping today. And guys, it's very rare you ever see anything like this. And it's even more bizarre that there was no catalyst that caused it. And actually, it's downright scary. There were a lot of people that lost a lot of money today, and I feel horrible for them. If you're watching it and it happened to you, my heart sincerely goes out to you because please know it's nothing you did, but this market is vicious right now. It is so scary. Um, and I apologize that any of you had to go through this and find out the hard way. This didn't seem like a bad IPO. I haven't fully investigated it yet, but I did enough digging in order to find out, what's going on to make this video for you and to take my own position in it because I do think that we're going to see a rebound back up. I'm going to get into what my plan is for it and what my expectations and time frame look like at the end of the video. Right now, I want to show you the only article that I could really find about what's going on. So I'm going to bring that to you first, and then I'm going to get into the charts and tell you my thoughts. All right, let me bring up the article. Okay, guys, this is from Investor Place, as you can see at the top of the page, and it tends to be a bit more trustworthy than, some of these other ones, such as Seeking Alpha. There's a whole slew of them, but anyways, let's get into it. Lightest Technologies, LYT stock plunges 90% in free fall. The implosion of LYT stock is an absolute mystery, and guys, it is such a mystery, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I have thoughts. So let's go through the article first. After making its public debut earlier this month, shares of Lightest Technologies, LYT, a platform technology service firm, utterly imploded. What has many investors freaked out about the free-falling LYT stock price is the complete absence of news. If anything, Lightest is a crucial reminder that you must always conduct thorough due diligence with your investments, and even that might not be enough. And guys, don't beat yourself up if you were in this because it wasn't something you did or didn't do. This is bizarre, honestly bizarre. In a shocking turn of events today, shares of Lightest Technology, LYT, which specializes in platform technology services, have been all but disintegrated. At one point, LYT stock was down 90% on the June 28th session until paring losses to 84% down, heading into the late afternoon hours. What caused LYT stock to lose so much market value in a single day? Unfortunately, the hemorrhaging occurred on no apparent news, leaving observers perplexed and stakeholders searching for answers. Headquartered in Mumbai, India, a search for market-shifting developments in the South Asian powerhouse reveals nothing unusual. Yes, global markets were volatile, causing flat trading in India's Sensex. India's Sensex, guys, is their stock trading platform. Nevertheless, the end result was mundane. What can be said is that LYT stock made its debut earlier this month. In April of last year, Renaissance Capital reported that Lightest planned to raise $30 million in its initial IPO. At the original deal's terms, the company would have commanded a market value of $406 million. However, when Lightest ultimately debuted in mid-June, it cut its target to a $12.4 million raise. So their IPO raised them $12.4 million, guys, instead of the $30 million they had initially planned. So it's kind of undervalued if that's what they initially assessed it at, but let's go on. The plot thickens for LYT stock. The reduced expectations for the IPO could be a reasonable culprit for today's movement, but it wasn't unreasonable for Lightest to pare down its deal. Back in 2021, when initial talks materialized, the company was riding what would eventually become a record tally for new listings. Obviously, this year has panned out differently, in large part due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Further, with investors being careful this year about where they put their money, The early rise of LYT stock is extremely unusual. From the close of June 15th to the curtain call of June 27th, Leidos shares gained 176%. For that kind of sentiment to evaporate almost instantly is bizarre, to say the least. Absolutely, guys. This is a very, very rare event. All right, let's see. It's also difficult to find glaring fundamental weakness in the underlying industry of Leidos, which primarily provides content streaming and telecasting services to over 8 million active users located across India. The company also delivers telemedicine services through relationship with local health centers. In fact, Grandview Research reported that the global digital experience platform may command a valuation of $30.41 billion by 2030, representing a compound annual growth rate of 13.3% from 2022. Stated differently, Leidos is plying its trade in a relevant and burgeoning sector. Guys, 30.41 billion in 2030. I just want to show you, go back up and remind you before I continue, that it actually only raised 12.4 million in its IPO, and they're evaluating in 8 years it's going to be worth 30.41 billion. Guys, that's huge. So to tell you that it's at a discount right now is to say the least. So if you are still stuck in this trade, please realize that it is so undervalued at $7. It seems kind of crazy to me. Let's go on, and then I'm going to show you the charts and my thoughts. Be careful with speculative investments. The only certainty that investors have at this moment regarding LYT stock is a painfully extracted lesson. Never engage speculative ventures with more money than you can afford to lose. While due diligence is a must, particularly with IPOs, even the best analysis can steer you wrong. Guys, I don't think this had anything to do with the analysis. We see the money that it's talking up here. Honestly, I believe what happened today was probably planned and horrible. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that when we get into the charts because it's easier for me to show you. But you could have done all the due diligence in the world and nothing could have stopped what happened today from happening. So don't beat yourself up about it. Let's get into it because the rest of this just talks about, you know, the person who wrote the article and stuff, and it doesn't matter for the point of this. So hang on a minute and I'm going to... Okay, guys, right now we are looking at the daily chart from IPO, which I believe was like June 15th. So let's see. It started on this big green candlestick here. You see it IPO'd at $20. It went down to a low of $17.15 and a high of $24.98. Over the next week and a few days, right? Like 12 days, almost 2 weeks now. It has gone up to a high of $47.23. And then, guys, we got this rapid, massive fall off that occurred today. And even though this is supposed to be the daily chart, it's actually shown in 30-minute increments on here. I apologize, but it made it smaller because there is no yearly chart because it's only been trading for 12 days. But anyways, it shows you over 30 minutes. Think about these candlesticks. This is one 30-minute candlestick. It was huge. This had 24 halts today. 24. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. Maybe when Overstock was squeezing, there were a lot of halts, or another squeeze play. You know, some of the squeeze plays I've been in, I've seen halts, but I don't know that there were ever 24. This is very unusual, and this kind of volatility in a 30-minute time frame is absolutely insane and something that's very rare, and in my opinion should be investigated. My thought process on this is, and it's pure speculation, so take it for what it's worth, but just something like this doesn't happen unless there's something else involved, guys. My thought is, unfortunately, that one or two whales came along, bought up this stock either at IPO or, God, I hope not, pre-IPO. Some companies offer people pre-IPO pricing, which is actually less than what it IPOs for. Like I know that on Poshmark, I was given the opportunity to buy their IPO for a fraction of the price. I can't remember right now what it was for, but it was less than the actual IPO price. And that thing rocketed to like $100 at IPO from like $40. And then it sold off in massive ways. If you look at it today, I don't know. I got rid of it when it hit back down to 40 because it was honestly a stock that I wanted to keep long term, but I wasn't going to lose my money on it. Um, but if you look at it, you'll notice it went all the way down to like $12 or something, guys. It was crazy. Like when something like that happens, I'm sorry, but you have to think something bigger is involved. This went from $20 to 47. This is normal chart movement, okay? This is like normal people thinking this is undervalued. To be perfectly honest with you, I never even heard of LYT until today. So people that are investing in this aren't like day traders or other things like myself because this didn't exist in our vocabulary. Like it wasn't a stock on my radar until this massive volatility came in. Then of course it became a stock on my radar because you don't see this and every scanner guys is picking this up and massively picking it up. If you could hear my scanner today, it was like LYT, LYT halted. LYT will resume in 1 minute. LYT halted. LYT literally all day long until like noon. It was just nonstop. I'm like, what the heck is going on with the stock? I pulled up at one point. I was like, oh God, I don't want to get involved in that. And then I started thinking. And let's go back to the daily chart for just a minute so you can see today's activity. So as you can see that 47 was the high of today. This breaks it down, guys, into 5 minutes because this is how I watch charts. So, and I also trade on a 1348. So you could see if I were in this play prior, my sell signal would have been when this 13 crossed under the 48 moving average. Okay. Now, my buy signal would generally be here when the 13 crosses above the 48. But as you can see, it's barcoding and I'll tell you what I did. So it got down here and made a low of $5.15, guys. A stock that has this huge of a falling, I have to think that a whale bought in big initially at IPO and decided to sell it off when he made massive gains because like the article said, they more than doubled their money. They double and a half it, guys. It was up like 196% at one point, right? So over just less than 2 weeks of trading, that's a huge profit. Then all of a sudden, these wheels, which I think is this or this wheel, one of the two, or maybe group of wheels that might have been working together, I don't know, sold out. Okay, the stock tried to rebound up. You see that here. It couldn't. This 13 never even like curled up to try to cross back over. It was basically in free fall mode. And then you see another sell off here. So I believe that a large position or multiple large positions were closed out during this time, which then obviously if you're watching this stock and you're in it, it created fear. And I'm willing to bet that it resulted in a lot of these other candlesticks that are basically heavily shorted. Okay, that's one scenario. The other scenario that I'm throwing around is that market makers have unlimited liquidity. So that means if a stock becomes popular, they can create naked shares essentially that don't exist that aren't physical shares. And this is a major problem. And they can worry about covering them later, which is known as a failure to deliver. So my other thought that could have possibly happened is this stock became fairly popular due to the move that it was getting up amongst, people maybe in the tech sector. And they decided that they needed more shares and they kept producing them. Well, then they were in a liquidity price, right? Because shares are due in T+2. And if they don't meet them after the 2 days, guys, then it goes to a failure to deliver and they have T+35 days before it has to be reported and all that other stuff as a failure to deliver. And they get fined if they don't deliver them. So my thought process is it might have been getting out of control with a brand new stock, probably having a bunch of naked shares already created. And maybe this initially started as a fear factor to try to get some people to sell to recover those shares. And maybe that's what brought this move down to try, like I said, to try to get shares back to cover their shares that they didn't have. And again, this is my speculation because I believe there can only be one or two possibilities that I'm talking about. And if you have another, please leave me a message in the comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it because this is not something you normally see, and it's not normal by any means. And this says to me it needs to be investigated by the SEC. This is far from normal, guys, and this is crazy. But anyways, if they did that and they created this massive sell-off to try to get people to sell and get shares back, that's my other thought process. Now, take it with a grain of salt because, again, this is my thoughts and nothing I say here is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do want to tell you the move that I see as a potential coming up here. So now the stock drops, the low hits $5.15, right? I decide, this looks kind of juicy. Like, how much further can it really go? Well, obviously it can go to zero, but my risk to reward, clearly my reward's so much higher. So as long as I play it safe, I said, why not? Let's see what it does. Let's see if it can get above 6 and hold. It got above 6 and hold. So I said, all right, I'm going to buy a few shares just for fun to kind of watch it and see what I do to see if it made a 1348 cross, because that would be my buy signal, right? So I watched and I watched and I said, all right, I think I bought 20 or 25 shares, something small, whatever I had left in cash in my account that I wasn't using today. I decided to just, open that position, and it went up, guys, and it went up to $8 and something cents. But I had already predetermined that the only way I'm selling this is when it gets to double digits and like potentially over IPO price is what I'm looking for, it to get over 20 and then evaluate what it's doing technically from there, right? That's my thought process on it. But I said, if it crosses over, then I want to buy more. So I watched it, and it went down into like this, it came back down into the sevens, and I was like, all right, if it hits $7, I'll buy some more. So somewhere along here where it was about to have a 1348 crossover, it did hit $7, and as you can see, it either like just crossed, it was like parallel, so just crossing above or just staying parallel with it. And I decided, all right, I'm going to buy some more. So guys, I only took a small position. I only bought 100 more shares because this is very high risk at this point, and I was not going to risk, the bank hoping that it's gonna, make a recovery, because I still at that point had no idea what was causing this because I couldn't find anything in the media to confirm or deny my suspicions, right? So until I saw that article, I really didn't know what on earth was happening. And even, when it came out, I still was like, there has to be more to the puzzle. And who knows, maybe somebody on the inside knows something that's going to come out tomorrow. But I highly doubt it, guys, because I think it would have already been out and it wouldn't have created this unless it was something like the company's going bankrupt and closing the doors. But they couldn't have IPO'd 2 weeks ago or not following the rules of the system and then claim bankruptcy, 2 weeks later. You don't hear about that. So I don't think that's it at all. So here's my thoughts, what it's going to do. Right now, it's basically trying to find some stability and build support. It could continue to trade in this barcode pattern, like between $6 and $8 for a while, guys. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are, I'm reading, jumping into this stock and buying shares. There's also a lot of people that are probably scared to death looking at this to get in. But you have to weigh the risk to the reward at this point, okay? Right now, the risk is very little because the likelihood of this stock going to zero is highly unlikely. However, it's the stock market. Anything could happen. It could. But I'm willing to bet that we're going to eventually curl up and make a move to the upside, because I think tonight, when a lot of day traders and stuff are reviewing, the big movers for the day, that this is definitely going to catch their eye. Now, does it catch eyes of shorts or does it catch eyes of longs? Because a short might come in and say, this is downtrend and dang, I'm going to just short this some more. If there's enough of us, we can just short this down some more. And guys, there's no telling that could. But I'm also thinking that looking at this chart, you know, from the outside, looking at it as like a trader, not, I mean, I trade long. I don't like to trade short. It's a rare thing I will go short. Um, so maybe I'm not the person to ask, but my thought is looking at this as just a trader with open eyes. I would look and say that there's a lot more potential for this stock to go to the upside than there is for it to go to the downside. There's a lot more money to be made. So if I'm going to pick a side to go, I'm going to pick the upside. Um, again, anything could happen. So if you're going to play this trade, I would highly recommend having a close, eye on it, a good stop in. I've already determined myself that if it falls below the 515, which is the lowest candle, that's going to be my signal to exit. However, I believe that it's going to go up and definitely get above IPO price of $20 and potentially higher. So guys, a $7 entry, that's 13 plus to the upside versus, well, if it went to zero, then that would be 7 to the downside, but I'm saying $5.15. So at 7.14, that's a $2 risk for a potential $13 gain. I'm going with the up here. I hope this helps. If you're in this play, I can't give you financial advice, but personally, if I were in this play, I would just hold it and see what happens and, maybe take that as your consideration. Unless news comes out that something's horribly wrong, which I don't think it is, because I think it definitely would have broke by now. That's the only thing I'd be concerned about. But even looking at that article, guys, it's very bullish with the numbers. Like, I didn't know about this stock, but I'm actually intrigued and may consider even holding it longer because I think the company, I'm going to have to do some more research on it, but I really believe that it has a future according to that article anyways. So I really want to see what's up with it. I hope that helped. Again, if you were in this play, I am so sorry for your losses. Please try not to sweat it. I know that's easy to say on the outside, but trust me, I've been there. Like, got massively crushed with the stock very badly before because it was TCAT. All right, I'm going to open up and be honest about something because I think a lot of you can probably learn from this. I was going through my divorce with my soon to be ex-husband, and it was the process of him moving out and he came to get his stuff. I told myself I wasn't going to trade that day because I was emotional, and a lot of anger and other emotions were in play, and you should never trade when you're emotional. He wasn't coming till like 10 o'clock, so I said, or whatever time it was, let's say it was 10 o'clock. I said, I'm going to play market open for a little bit. He's not going to be here for a while, and I'll be fine. Well, lo and behold, he showed up early. I was in the middle of riding TCAT up. If you go back and look at that chart, actually, I'll pull it up and show you what I did. Because it was when I say substantial loss, like a six-figure loss, all because of stupidity, guys. All right, so TCAT, we're going to look at the 2-year time frame on this because it's been well over a year now. See this, guys? I was in this nice little wave of riding TCAT up. And it was it this? I think it was this day. And I was in here riding it very close to the top, and I didn't know it was going to happen. And I said, he shows up at the door. I'm like, all right, I know I need to close out my position. I don't know if it's going to go up or down, but I can't focus with him here, so I'm going to close it. Guys, I thought I put in my trade to close out my entire position, and instead of hitting sell, and I had a limit order in, instead of hitting sell, I hit buy. I doubled my position at the top. And that's no joke. And didn't come back to my computer at all that day. Came the next day. I was still kind of emotional, so I wasn't even going to trade, but I looked at my account and was like, WTF just happened to my account? When I saw this ticker was still in it, guys, if I can tell you that I thought I was going to vomit, that's an understatement. I literally blew up six figures on this trade. Yep. And it's not that I'm a dumb trader or didn't know what I was doing or anything. I was emotional and I hit accidentally buy instead of sell. So, long story short, and I'm going to give you this for that ticker too, and why you need to know what your bottom is, because I said, oh crap, what do I do? Maybe it'll go back up. Guys, I literally prayed every night like you wouldn't believe that it would go back up. And what did it do? It went down. It went down. It went down. It came up a little. It came up a little. I was like, oh, thank you, God, you're hearing my prayers. It came up a little. I think this day, for some reason, I wasn't trading or wasn't watching because I don't remember it getting there, or I think I would have gotten out at that point. But I mean, at one point, I think somewhere down here, I couldn't watch anymore. And I said, I'm not even going to look at the computer for like a week, okay? Something happened. And I was like, it is what it is at this point, right? No, guys, that was stupid. And I could tell you from my mistake, I should have cut my losses when I opened the computer up at whatever time this day and saw where it was somewhere down here, okay? Because it was bad and it kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I missed out on that, saw it and said, oh, okay, maybe there's a chance whenever I came back to it somewhere in here, right? Whatever. I don't know. Long story short, I just watched this falling knife, guys, until actually I probably did get out somewhere around this second right up here. I think is when I finally said that's enough. Somewhere in here, guys, I think. I couldn't do it anymore. I think I was probably like this day or this day when I saw this red again and said, it's not going back. Because sometimes they will go up and make another one. This is a different scenario than that ticker because this was a squeeze play, guys. So, but there's a point in why I'm telling you this. I sustained a very, very substantial loss, okay? And it screwed with my mental abilities, with me thinking, I've been in the market, guys, for 20 plus years now. So, sorry, I have to think about my age sometimes. Sad, but true. My daughter told me how old I was the other day because it's going to be my birthday next month. And she's like, oh, Mom, you're going to be such that. I'm like, no, I'm not. Stop aging me. How dare you? And she's like, Ma, how old do you think you are? And I told her, and she was like, you better do the math. And I nearly died. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. I stopped counting. Anyways, guys, this aged me and made me feel that my 20 years of experience in the market, that I was a failure and I shouldn't ever trade again. And I had so many bad emotions, and it backfired so badly because I lost confidence in a skill that I knew I had, and I started doing stupid things to try to make up for those losses. So please, I want you to go back now and look at LYT. And first of all, I want to show you it's not, hold on, I gotta change it back because clearly it hasn't been there for a year. 2 years, rather. Sorry, it's giving me daily candles and I want to show you the 5-minute chart again. All right, so this is a much different scenario, okay? This is an IPO, this is not a squeeze play. So please, I'm not sharing that story with you to get you discouraged. I shared it with you to let you know that it can happen to the most skilled traders. It can happen to anybody. And that on my end was a mistake. This is nothing you did, okay? This was some sort of manipulation somewhere, somehow. It had to have been followed by people fear selling the way out. And especially people that were in at 20, probably once it hit that $20 marker, you can see right here at 22, it tried to recover a little, but then it free fell off, guys. Then they decided that they just didn't want to lose anymore and they got out. You saw it again here around that $15 mark. They tried to fight again. You know, people probably wanted to bring it back, but it's a falling knife. But now it's stabilized. But here's what I want you to think about. The potential up is a lot greater. It's a different scenario than TCAT. And if you went back to TCAT, and I should have showed you, if I didn't sell out of my trade at a certain point, then guess what would have happened? TCAT's trading under $2 right now. I would have been stuck in that losing trade all the way down from 70 something dollars to $2. Guys, that's disgusting. Thank God, you know, I came to my senses and after not sleeping for however many days said, screw it, I can't live like this anymore. I need to get out, and hopefully it has another ride that I can ride the wave back up. But again, that's a different scenario than this stock, but the story's kind of similar with the fall off, except I think the recovery here exists, or I wouldn't have gotten into this ticker. But I want you guys to all do me a favor. And those of you that are stuck in this trade and those of you that are just entering, I want you to promise yourselves that you listen to my story and you are going to make a choice. And that's going to be, if you stay in it, great, but you need to know what your stop is. Your stop doesn't have to be my stop. My stop is $5.15 since that's the lowest wick on this candle, okay? That's the lowest point it hit. Your stop could be whatever you want it to be. If you're nervous, watch it tomorrow, see what it's doing. If you get nervous, guys, there's no harm in getting out and getting back in when you feel better about it. Or, you know, if you think it's going to be a great company like I'm seeing, but again, I don't know enough about it to tell you whether it is or whether it's not. I am playing this as a technical trader, as a swing trade, but you guys might know more information about it that you realize, hey, this is a steal of a lifetime. Personally, based on what I just read in 5 minutes, if that stuff is true and it's going to, you know, if it IPO'd at 12 million and it's going to be worth 30 billion in 8 years, heck yeah, this is a steal. So I wish everybody nothing but the best, but please have a trading plan and know how you're going to play it and stick to it, guys. This is something you don't want to fool around with. And I'm so sorry for any of you that are experiencing that pain, because I've been there. And guys, it took me months, and I mean months, to get my confidence back. And that's a whole part of why I started doing this YouTube, is because I don't want people to screw up the way that I, as even an experienced trader, screwed up. Because it can happen to anybody, guys, no matter how good you are. All it takes is one mistake. And when you're trading with, you know, huge share counts, you can lose a lot of money, and you can lose it fast. You can also make a lot of money. Just, it's all about timing. And I bet you we're going to be hearing more about this, because something here is screaming to me that it's very, very wrong. This was not a squeeze. This is like a short attack like I've never seen in my life, guys. But my thoughts and prayers go out to all of you that are suffering with having to look at this tonight. And please know that it's not your fault. This was not your mistake. This is something I don't even know. Other than the two things that I said, I really don't have any other explanation for it. But let's see what happens tomorrow. I am bullish on it. I wouldn't be surprised if it has to cool off and trade flat for a day or two before it makes any move, guys. But let's see. It could, you know, it could catch the right eyes tomorrow, and we could get some bulls that pile in. That would be great. All right. Have a great night, guys. And I'm sorry about the sound in the last video and that I had to repeat this, but it made me share TCAT with you, which I didn't originally. So if that helps any of you, then I'm glad I shared this story. Have a good night. Oh, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.